Welcome, everybody. Today on the Wandering Poet Cafe, we are going to check out the 20 most famous quotes about poetry. I got these by asking ChatGPT what are the 20 most famous quotes, and these are them. So, number one comes from William Wordsworth. Poetry is the spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings. It takes its origin from emotion recollected in tranquility. This is from the preface to Lyrical Ballads. That's the book that Wordsworth and Coleridge wrote together. One of the most famous collections in English poetry, and a very famous quote from Wordsworth about poetry, a worthy number one. Then we come to number two by Joseph Roux. This is one of the names I've never heard of on this list, but he says, "Poetry is truth in its Sunday clothes." So meaning Sunday, like your Sunday best, so truth in the most appealing way possible. Number three from Robert Frost, "Poetry is when an emotion has found its thought and the thought has found words." So far a lot about emotions from number one and three. Then number four from T.S. Eliot, "Genuine poetry can communicate before it is understood." So there he's kind of hinting at the way poetry kind of engages the senses before the intellect. Number five from Coleridge, who wrote Lyrical Ballads with Wordsworth, "Poetry is the best words in the best order." Very matter of fact definition there from him. Number six, again Robert Frost, "Poetry is what gets lost in translation." And seven, also Frost, "A poem begins in delight and ends in wisdom." And Robert Frost was really good at making the musical quality of his poems very delightful, so that's very apt from him. Number eight, Edgar Allan Poe, "Poetry is the rhythmical creation of beauty in words." Kind of like number five from Coleridge there. Number nine, Emily Dickinson, "If I feel physically as if the top of my head were taken off, I know that is poetry." Another very famous one. 10, Carl Sandburg, "Poetry is an echo asking a shadow to dance." All right. On to number 11, also Sandburg, "Poetry is the journal of a sea animal living on land wanting to fly in the air." So he's pretty fanciful with his definitions. Number 12, Christopher Fry, "Poetry is the language in which man explores his own amazement." 13 from Plato, "Poetry is nearer to vital truth than history." Very well known one too. Anybody who's a fan of poetry has no doubt heard that. Kind of contrasting, the artistic, aesthetic sense of poetry from the facts and figures of history. Then 14, we got Walt Whitman, "To have great poets, there must be great audiences." A little bit different than the rest of them, an interesting concept, and it is true. People got to be able to kind of understand how to approach poetry, which is actually really easy. It's just like a song lyric. A lot of times people get kind of in their head about it. They think it's a riddle of some kind, but not really. 15, Thomas Gray, the author of Elegy Written in a Country Churchyard, "Poetry is thoughts that breathe and words that burn." I like that one. That reminds me of the Bob Dylan lyric from Tangled Up in Blue about every word came pouring forth like burning coal written in my soul, something like that. 16, T.S. Eliot again, "Poetry is not a turning loose of emotion, but an escape from emotion." So that's kind of in contrast to actually it's kind of similar to Wordsworth's opening one in the sense that you're recollecting emotion in a state of tranquility. 16, Archibald MacLeish, "A poem should not mean but be." Another sentiment that's been expressed a few times here. A poem kind of just is, like a painting or a song. It doesn't necessarily have to have an intellectual, cerebral quality to it. Then 18 from W.H. Auden, "Poetry is the clear expression of mixed feelings." 19 from Novalis, "Poetry heals the wounds inflicted by reason." Once again, that contrast between poetry and reason, or the intellect, versus the feelings and the sensations. And then finally from Voltaire, number 20, "Poetry is the music of the soul and above all, of great and feeling souls." So there you go. That is what AI has come up with as the 20 most famous quotes ever about poetry. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. What is your favorite quote about poetry? Was it on the list or left out? And if you want to see lessons about poetry as well as lots of poetry readings here on the channel, consider subscribing, and we'll see you next time.